Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Gaur Pramanande.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Shrimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adigaur Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Where's the other mic? Other mic? Hare Krishna. So we are very, very fortunate that today we have one of the very prominent and very wonderful disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we are very happy that Mataji is not different from Maharaj. So Mataji gave her association in Puri for 3 days. And especially her Grace Indumati Mataji and Priyanka Mataji, Abhishek Prabhu and few others, they got the fortunate association of Mataji there, and now she has agreed to also give us the association, because if all of us are not able to go to Puri also, Mataji came to Bhubaneswar. So let's welcome Mataji by a loud Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So we'll hear from Mataji. Any topic, Mataji? Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I'm actually very grateful to you all, because without your invitation, we would not have been able to come here to Bhubaneswar and Puri. When we were in Ujjain, glorifying Srila Prabhupada, and also for the memorial program of Bhakti Saraswami, we met Amritesh Prabhu and Indumati Radhika Mataji. And they invited us to come here to Bhubaneswar and also to Puri. I've never been in Bhubaneswar, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing all the holy places here. And Puri, of course, Puri is the eternal Dham, Vaikuntha on earth, of Sri Jagannath Ji. And we, not born in India, we're not allowed to enter even the temple, but from a distance we can see. Just 1975, we were traveling all over India and putting Srila Prabhupada's books in the libraries there. Wherever we went, to Andhra, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Haryana, UP, Gujarat. We came around, we came to Puri, and at that time there was a big library in front of the Jagannath temple. Now they've removed everything in that area. So I thought, well, let me at least try to see Jagannath. We've come from so far. We've been serving him all these years. After all, he's the Lord of the universe. So I entered the temple and had the opportunity to see Lord Jagannath. Now you all don't understand your great fortune, because anytime you want, you can go and see the Lord of the universe. For us, we're going to have to take another birth just to be able to take darshan of the Lord. But you just have to go 1 hour, and you're there at the home of the Supreme Lord. You can see Him, you can worship Him, you can offer to Him. We're not so fortunate. Now, how did we even get the fortune to come here? That was by the grace of Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he explains that anyone born in India, they're the most fortunate. It's the highest birth you can take on earth. And each one of you have a duty to perform. In order to take birth here, it means many, many lifetimes you've performed so many pious activities. And you're sitting here today means that in your previous life also, you were engaged in devotional service. And now, by the grace of the association of the devotees, you're picking up just where you left off in your previous lifetime, so that you can progress further on your path of going back to Krishna. Now we, who took birth outside of India, we're not so fortunate. We never heard the name of Ram or Krishna. We never heard of Bhagavad Gita. We were in complete ignorance. And it was only when Srila Prabhupada, on the order of his spiritual master, came to America that we had any knowledge that the Supreme Lord exists, that He has a home, He has an address, He has a telephone number, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we can go see Him anytime. So, by the grace of Prabhupada, we have been able to come close to the Lord. And now, how many of you ever met Srila Prabhupada personally? Most of you weren't born when he was here. But Srila Prabhupada left a process. Prabhupada explains that even the chanting of Hare Krishna, unless you follow the process, it's just like chanting A, B, C, D, E, F, G, just letters and words, sound vibrations. The process is we have to purify ourselves internally and externally. Externally, we purify ourselves by following the 4 regulative principles. Who can tell me what they are? Char niyam kya hai? Yes. Now, who here drinks tea? We don't even drink tea. And you won't find that in practically any other sampradaya. Tea drinking was introduced by the British because they like tea. So Prabhupada explains that they set up tea stalls all over India and gave out free tea. And tea is an intoxicant. So by giving out free tea, the Indian people were drinking tea and they became intoxicated and they became addicted to it. And then they started to sell the tea. So now all of India is addicted to tea drinking. It's very hard to give up because it's an addiction. But there's another type of addiction, and that is kirtan, chanting Hare Krishna, taking Krishna prasadam. So we have to weigh which is more enjoyable, drinking a cup of tea in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, or taking prasadam, going on sankirtan, associating with the devotees, reading very interesting books about the spiritual world. So all of these things we can weigh. We can see which is giving me more pleasure, this one little cup of tea or all of the advantages of devotional service. The same with smoking, the same with illicit association, the same with horrible meat eating. Now these 4 principles they correspond to the pillars of pious life. Does anyone know what the 4 pillars of pious life are? Mercy, truthfulness, cleanliness, austerity, yes. You can consider them to be like 4 pillars in a building that build a house. And the 4 sinful activities, each one of them breaks down those pillars. Intoxication. If one is intoxicated, it's impossible to perform austerities because you can't be regulated. You sleep too much, you're too agitated, no austerity. So by taking intoxication, austerity is out the window. It breaks the pillar. If you're engaged in meat eating means slaughter. Now, if we just go to a shop and buy some meat, we don't have to engage in cutting the throat of the animals. But according to the Shastra, there's 6 people who are responsible when someone eats meat. The person who sells the animal, the person who buys the animal, the person who actually kills the animal, the person who sells that meat, the person who eats the meat. So there's 6 altogether. Each one of those people are responsible for that slaughter of an animal. And that's cow eating, even fish eating, any type of meat eating, even eggs, because eggs are an embryo, and it has life inside of it. That breaks the pillar of mercy. Then if you have illicit association, that breaks the pillar of cleanliness, because illicit association means unclean activities. And then last we have gambling. In order to win when you gamble, you're going to have to ultimately cheat. So gambling breaks that last pillar of truthfulness. So now in this age of Kali, in Satya Yuga, all of the 4 pillars were standing strong, and everyone lived in the mode of goodness. And in Treta Yuga, one of the pillars was broken. In Dwapara Yuga, another pillar was broken. And now we have in Kali Yuga only 1 pillar left. That was why in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Kali attacked Dharma the bull, he broke 3 of his legs. Only 1 of his legs he was standing on. The only leg we have now in Kali Yuga is truthfulness. So we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to always balance and check ourselves. Which life do we want? Which house do we want to live in? A house of sinful activities or a house of pious activities in which we can worship the Supreme Lord? So this is a very personal thing. One can hear again and again all of the processes, all of the principles. You can read Bhagavad Gita every day. But Prabhupada explains, unless you follow the process, and that means accepting these 4 simple principles to cut that mahapap in our life, the chanting of Hare Krishna will have very little effect. It'll be like pouring water on a fire. So when Prabhupada came to America and he began this chanting of Hare Krishna, he wanted us to give our whole life to him so that we could assist him. He told us that we had taken birth in America so that we could help him carry out the order of his spiritual master. And therefore he sent us all over the world to open up temples and to preach and to encourage people to stop these four sinful activities and chant Hare Krishna. So some of us he brought here to India. Now why would he preach in India? This is the land of Vedic culture Everyone knows about Bhagavad Gita, about Ram and Krishna. He said, because in India, everyone's looking to the West. Now you have McDonald's, you have Subway, you have Domino's, you have Pizza Hut. All these things came from the West, specifically from America, which is the most West, meaning the most fallen. So Prabhupada explained the psychology. In India, you know, there's a saying in America, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So people in India are thinking that, oh, I will be so happy if I can just go to America and live like the Americans. Meanwhile, the Americans are miserable. And we're thinking, oh, if I could just come to India, the land where everyone worships Krishna. So Prabhupada, he had a plan. He said, first, I will execute the order of my spiritual master. I will preach in the English language in the Western countries. So he did that. He made 108 temples all over the world. That was phase 1 of ISKCON. Then Prabhupada made phase 2. Phase 2 is when Prabhupada brought Krishna consciousness back to India. Because when Prabhupada was alone here in India, he made exactly one disciple. No one was interested in dedicating their life to Krishna. They had too many other responsibilities. So he brought back his Western disciples to India to show that, yes, you're looking to go to the West, but here are Westerners who have adopted your own culture, your own lifestyle. They're worshiping Krishna, and see how happy they are. So therefore, Prabhupada, he brought us to India with him to establish these temples that you're now sitting in. I remember in 1974, one sadhu came to our temple in Vrindavan. The Vrindavan temple wasn't built yet, it was still under construction. And he was looking for a guru. So he came to visit our temple, and he met Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada could immediately see that here was an advanced Vaishnava. And he instantly initiated him. He named him Gaur Govinda Das. And Gaur Govinda, he went to Prabhupada's room one evening. And Prabhupada told him, I want you to return to Orissa, and I want you to translate all of my books into Odia, and to establish a temple in Bhubaneswar. So when he came out of the room after meeting Srila Prabhupada, I happened to be standing right there. And he said to me, you know, Prabhupada just told me I should go back to Orissa. I should open a temple there. He said, I'm going immediately. And I said, wait, before you go, I'll give you a gift. And I gave him a bottle of Radha Kund water to take with him. And I never saw Gaur Govinda Maharaj after that, because I never came here to Bhubaneswar. I only heard about the wonderful things that he had done here, how he was living in a mud hut, how Prabhupada came here to see the land, to inaugurate the temple, to do the Bhumi Pujan. That was all in the 70s. That was 50 years ago. Now coming and seeing the wonderful expansion, like a blossoming lotus, just from that one instruction that Prabhupada gave. You're all sitting here today. Hundreds and thousands of people are being benefited from the temple, coming here, the preachers going out. Do you go out during marathon?
I don't know. There are 2 buses.
Two buses going out. So all over Orissa now, the people are getting Lord Chaitanya's mercy. This is the land of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Audiyas, the Gaudiyas, always together they were worshiping. So you're very, very fortunate. You've taken birth in the land of Jagannath-ji, and now you can make your lives perfect. How do we make our lives perfect? By going back to Krishna in the spiritual world where we came from originally. This is the process. This chanting of Hare Krishna, in the very first book that Prabhupada ever wrote was called Easy Journey to Other Planets. Anya Lokam Ke Sugama Yatra. Anyone has read that book? Easy Journey to Other Planets. And Prabhupada explains there that one can go to the spiritual world by sound vibration. And the first book cover of that book was a devotee chanting on his beads, and his beads were his umbilical cord, his nabi, taking him to the spiritual world so he could take a spiritual birth. So we know the miseries of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. There's Janma and there's Mrityu. And in between there's Jara and Vyadi. When we're young we think, oh, I'll never grow old, I'll never get sick. But I promise you, everyone in this room will become old like me, and eventually we'll all die. And this process of Krishna consciousness is to prepare us for that moment when we leave this body. Because according to the yoga system in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever our mind has been meditating on in this lifetime, we will attain that form. Therefore, if we have a dog in our house and we're thinking, oh, my best friend, my dog, well, become a dog. Whatever we eat, you are what you eat. It doesn't mean that we're going to become potatoes and tomatoes. It means because we can eat what Krishna eats. He tells us in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. These four things he eats. He doesn't say monks, machli, anda, nothing. We can't offer that to Krishna. But if we offer Krishna the things that he likes to eat, just like today you made such a beautiful feast, 56 preparations I heard. So nice, everything just like the spiritual world. So if we eat Krishna Prasadam, we are building our spiritual body. Prabhupada explains that you can eat your way back to Godhead. Even if you can't chant, you can't preach, you can't read, just by taking Krishna Prasadam, you can go back to Godhead. Yes, so the four propensities of human life, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, we can do all of those four things for Krishna, just like the Pandavas did. They were defending, they were fighting for Krishna, just like the Grihastas. Grihastas, they raise children so that the children can become Krishna conscious. I brought this little girl here. This is my granddaughter. See? Her name is Tara. And she's now fourth generation of Vaishnavas born outside of India. So we're trying, as Grihastas, we're trying to build up the Vaishnava community. So there's eating, we can eat for Krishna, we can sleep for Krishna. If all day long we're engaged in Krishna's service, then at night we'll even be dreaming of our service. At night I give Bhagavad Gita classes, and I quote verses that I didn't even know that I knew. So this is all possible if we take this process seriously, starting with the four principles, then a little more advancement, getting up for Mangalarti. Prabhupada called it a sandwich program. You know, we have a sandwich. There's double roti on the bottom, double roti on top, and then something nice inside. So our sandwich program is The morning program, Mangalartik, Japa, Srimad Bhagavatam class, and Prasadam. Evening program, Sandhya Arti, singing and dancing, again Prasadam. And in the daytime, that's all of the service that we do. And he warned us in Vrindavan. He wrote a letter, and he had this letter sent to all the temples of the world. He said, do not be a bigger Paramahamsa than your Guru Maharaj. I am attending morning and evening class. I am enjoying the kirtans in the temple. So as I am doing, you should also do in all of the temples. So Prabhupada, he followed the same process that he told us to follow. He followed it more strictly than we did. I cooked for Prabhupada all over India, traveling with him. Prabhupada would go to sleep 11 o'clock at night. He would wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning. And when we were all sleeping like little babies, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, Prabhupada was translating his books for us. Because there were no one came to him with their problems and their letters and the meeting people. No, from 1 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the morning, the whole world is sleeping. But Prabhupada was up translating. And then Mangalarti time, Prabhupada would go for a morning walk. All day long he would be preaching. Finally, in the evening time, he would come. Prabhupada took prasadam 4 times a day. And only nice, just like what you eat here in Orissa and Bengal. Rice, dal, chapati. He would eat chapati because traveling he had to have some strength. And rice, dal, chapati, sabji, very nice, wada every day, coconut chutney. So Prabhupada, he wasn't interested in sense gratification of eating. He just ate very simply so that he could perform his service for Krishna. So eating, very minimal sleeping, because he was on Paramahamsa level. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but Krishna repeats himself 2 times in the Bhagavad Gita, the same sloka. You know the sloka? It's right in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. Who knows the sloka? Yes. Manmana Baba Madbhakto. Let me try to find it. Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru. Here it is. This is at the end of the most confidential knowledge. Because Arjuna was asking Krishna so many questions. He was in a lot of anxiety. Krishna was asking him to do something that he didn't want to do. So Krishna, in order to make things very simple for Arjuna, he gave him 4 basic principles. He said, if you can't do anything else, you do these 4 things. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. Manmana means to always think of me. Bhava madbhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskaru, that even if you can't always think of me, you can't serve me, you can't even worship me, at least just offer your respects to me, your namaskar. Very simple things, anyone can do it. Manmana, think of me. Manmana, bhava madbhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskaru. So he said it right in the middle, at the end of the most confidential knowledge, to do this. And then at the very end of the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna had given all the descriptions of what to do, what not to do, how to live, at the very end, he repeats the exact same sloka. 1865. Krishna says in 64, because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction. the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for this is for your benefit. Again he says, Manmana bhava madbhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru. Exactly the same thing that he said in the 9th chapter. So if we can't do anything else, we can do these 4 things, wherever we are, whatever we're doing. Think of Krishna, become his devotee, worship him, and offer your respects to him. All right, so Mataji said maybe some of you, because I believe most of you are congregation members, you're living outside and aspiring for, how many of you have taken Diksha? Oh, quite a few, wonderful, very nice. So if you have any questions, or if you have any comments, yes, Prabhu? Is there a mic for him? You're going to have to come here. Yes, Prabhu.
Like Mataji, you have been in Krishna consciousness for more than 50 years.
Yes.
So I want to know that what is there that takes it for a person to survive so much longer in Krishna consciousness.
All right. You want to know my secret? You know, Lord Chaitanya, he gave us 8 slokas, the Sikshastakam. And there's one sloka, each one of these slokas are the different steps for attaining pure love for Krishna. The last sloka is in the mood of Radharani. So the 3rd sloka, I believe it's the 3rd, is Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So Trinadapi Sunichena. We see these trees, beautiful trees here in Orissa, nothing like our UP. We're so close to the desert, we hardly have any trees. The trees are growing so luxuriantly, but they're so tolerant also. That's the quality of the tree. Trinadapi Sunichena, that's the tree. First comes the grass. So the grass grows anywhere. One time we were on a morning walk with Prabhupada in New York City. Nothing grows in New York City, it's only cement. But we were walking on a road, and there were little pieces of grass coming up in between the cement. And Prabhupada pointed his cane, and he said, "Who planted this grass?" No one plants the grass in between the cement. So nobody said anything. Then Prabhupada explained to us, by performing a lot of punya, you get to go to the heavenly planets, and you get to enjoy there. And then when all of your punya is used up, you fall down in the rain in the form of little seeds. You fall down to the earthly planet, and you take birth as grass, and you start the whole evolutionary process all over again. So the grass is the very beginning of the evolutionary process by which we finally come again to the human platform. If you step on the grass, it goes down, and then it'll come right up again. So the grass is supposed to be Trinadapi Suni, it's the lowest. And the trees are the most tolerant. Amanina Manadena. We want no respect for ourselves, and we're prepared to offer all respect to others. Kirtaniya Sadahari. Then we can chant the holy name sada, always. So these are the secrets to how to remain in Krishna consciousness and how to perfect ourselves so that we can approach Krishna as well. To be humble, to be tolerant, to be ready to offer all respects to others and not expect any respect for ourselves, and to always chant Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada's principle, Lord Chaitanya's principle is Kirtaniya Sadahari. Kirtan is not just Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That type of kirtan, there's japa, there's kirtan, and there's sankirtan. Japa means to chant very quietly so that only you can hear it. Kirtan means to chant in a group as we're doing. And sankirtan means to take this chanting out to the public. Aside from that type of kirtan, Srimad Bhagavatam is also a form of kirtan. Sukadeva Goswami, he attained perfection in kirtan by speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we're sitting in the classes, that's also kirtan. When we're discussing our preaching activities, that's also kirtan. So somehow or other, everything that we're doing should be a form of kirtan, of glorifying the Supreme Lord. And that's how to stay in Krishna consciousness. Now for 54 years, I've been following Srila Prabhupada and this process, and it just gets sweeter and sweeter. Any more questions?
You can come to the front. Here, first row. He's working outside Jajpur. He came for today's class.
In Jajpur?
It's 125 kilometers from here. 125 kilometers from here.
And what service do you do?
I work in a steel company.
In a steel company? And do you chant while you're working?
Yes.
Good. Very nice.
I was attending in office.
Wonderful. So I think the devotees are a little shy.
Yeah.
They don't want to. Maybe Mataji has a question.
You have a question?
Yes, on behalf of
Okay, please.
because they've had Mahaprasad, so they're full, so they can't move from their seats.
I can't hear because of the echo.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they have Mahaprasada,
Yes?
and so now they can't move from their seats.
Oh, they can. They're filled up to here.
The hall is there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hope my voice is audible, Mataji. Most of the Mataji is here.
Use that.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Come close.
Because our count is more.
Nice.
Because our count is more.
Yes, yes.
So I'm asking a question on behalf of them.
Okay.
Yeah, we have married Matajis here and unmarried Matajis also.
Yes,
So there are two issues most
Okay.
of them are facing. One is career
yes.
and another one is home work-life balance.
Home and work-life balance, yes. So the married women, they also are working or they stay home?
Many of them are working also.
Many of them are working. So who looks after the children?
Their parents?
Their parents are there with them?
Yes.
Oh, that's very fortunate. So you still have the combined, the Hindu United Family.
Yes.
You're very fortunate. You don't have to put your children in the daycare centers and things. Nice. So the first is, for the unmarried, what is the problem?
A career. Now they want to
A
have
career,
job.
yeah.
Should they have a job or get married?
Well, we made our career devotional service. That's very possible. Prabhupada's disciples, we didn't have a career outside. This, I'm talking about the women. The men who are grihastas, they worked. Otherwise, the brahmacharis, they also made their career Krishna consciousness. And we were also from a very strong career-oriented background. In America, you have to finish your 12th standard, then go on to college, then go on to postgraduate, then go, and it's very much career-oriented. But we broke that system. Not that everyone should do that, but it is possible to make your career devotional service by serving full-time in the temple. And it takes a lot of faith, a lot of determination, and a lot of cooperation from your other family members. When my father, who knew nothing about Krishna, understood that I wanted to dedicate my whole life to God's service, he finally said to me, "You are my donation to Krishna." Yes. So when the family sees that someone is genuinely determined to serve God in this lifetime, then the family members, eventually, they will respect you for that. And because here we have sadhus everywhere, and it's a part of the culture. And if one family member becomes a devotee, there's so many other family members who can fill in. So you can consider that and discuss with your temple authorities if there's a way that you can be fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. If due to your family responsibilities you must take on a job, then you first have to determine, is this job going to allow me to follow the 4 regulative principles? For instance, we had example of, the air hostesses in the airplanes. Well, they would meet the devotees, and some of them wanted to become devotees. But they had to serve meat, they had to serve liquor, so they had to choose, do I want to continue doing something that's increasing my sinful reactions, or do I want to live a pure life? So those who took Diksha, they gave up those careers. Because some careers, you can easily follow the 4 regulative principles. If you're in the teaching career, if you're in the medical career, if you're in the all types of different types of careers that don't force you to, for instance, hotel management, it's very difficult because there's non-veg in the hotels. So you want to stay away from careers that will cause you to break the 4 regulative principles. So before you choose your career, you can sit down with one of the senior members of your community and discuss with them, according to your personal qualifications and what your abilities are, what would be the best career for you, so that you could practice your Krishna consciousness side by side. Because in Ishopanishad, very, very simple book, only 18 slokas, it's recommended in the Ishopanishad that side by side we should live our life, cultivating both material and spiritual knowledge. And we see that. We can't be fools. We have to have some type of job or work in order to maintain ourselves. Even Krishna says that everyone has to work. Otherwise, how will they maintain themselves? And even Krishna, he follows all the principles that he sets up. So, and he was acting first as a Vaishya. He would go out every day and herd the cows. Then when he was brought to Mathura, he was trained to be a Kshatriya. So the Supreme Lord himself had a career. according to his family, guna and karma, everything like that. Krishna did that. So we can take counsel from the temple authorities who you're serving under, and they can help to guide you what type of career you can plan for so that you can continue your devotional service at the same time. Okay?
On that same note, I have a question.
Yes.
That what if the boy or Mataji wants to choose a career of her own? She does not want to consult anybody. She has passion about it, he has passion about it.
Yeah.
They just want to go ahead. And later, if they repent, they'll come back. Now they don't want to ask us.
Yes,
Because
that's...
we'll stop them.
Well, we're here in the material world because each one of us has a slight amount of independence. We can choose to follow what Krishna says, or we can choose to reject what Krishna says. There are two different ways to go off. One is to act whimsically. Whimsically means you know what is the right thing to do, but you don't do it. And lusty means you know what the wrong thing is to do, and you do it, right? So one may act whimsically, that we know what's right, we know we should consult, we know we should take advice from those who are senior to us, senior in the sense that they've experienced what works and what doesn't work. It's very simple. And if we don't take advice and we act whimsically, then later we'll have trouble. That's all. But because we have some independence, Krishna gives us that, because you can't love unless there's independence. You can't force someone that you must love me, you must serve me, you must... No, if you don't want to do it, all right, Krishna says, fine, you've got the whole material world. You can try to enjoy all you want, and he gives that to us. He gives us that choice. But when they don't consult, later they'll repent. That's all. So first, take the advice. There's an axiom that if you ask for advice and someone gives it to you and then you don't follow it, then you go to hell. But if someone gives advice and you didn't ask for it, then that person goes to hell. So the devotees are always here to help because they have experienced what works and what doesn't work. But they're not going to force you. You have to come to them, as Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita. You have to approach them, inquire from them submissively, render service, and then they can give you the knowledge that will save you years and years of struggling. So that's in each one of your hands, if you choose to do that.
Okay, one question I have, that because you are a mother,
Yes.
so many children, when they start practicing Krishna consciousness, their parents obstruct them. That is this the age to do? Is this the right time? And I don't think you have to practice now. What will happen to your career? So how to convince their parents, or how to take their parents, even if they are not getting convinced, how to continue practicing?
Well, practicing means chanting Hare Krishna, following the 4 regulative principles. These aren't difficult things to do. It doesn't obstruct anybody's career.
Especially food is the most difficult thing.
Food, like the onions and garlic and things like that. Yes, my mother used to cry also when I became vegetarian. Oh, where will you get your protein? So it's an opportunity to preach to your family members as well.
Protein is an issue.
Yes, protein is an issue.
You mean it's true?
And look at the elephants. The elephants are the strongest animals, and they're pure vegetarians. Look at the cows. The cows, they eat grass and they produce milk, which is, and horses, yes. So you have a lot of opportunity to help your family members by giving them that knowledge also. And if it's too difficult, and if it causes too much inconvenience, you...
Well, in the West, like I asked Austin Bro, he told that I just left. He's not with his parents.
No, yes.
In the West, it's not like, well, it's
No, you can't do that in India, though.
no. We are so attached.
Yeah, you're shackled to your family, right? Right. So you pray to Krishna, just like when Prahlad Maharaj, you know, Hiranyakashipu tried to poison him just because he was a devotee, a little boy. He had his Prahlad Maharaj's mother feed him food mixed with poison. So Prahlad Maharaj, he offered that to Krishna, and it became nectar. So sometimes we're in a very dangerous situation, and we have to just depend on Krishna and pray to him that, please, Krishna, you know I want to serve you. Please help me in such a way that I can get over this obstacle. And just be patient. And when you come of age, when you're over 18, then you can learn how to cook. You can cook for yourself without the onion and garlic, things like that, without the meat, fish, and eggs. And you'll see that the people around you will begin to respect you because you're determined in your lifestyle. Okay.
I see. If we wait for some time,
Yes.
tolerate that situation,
Yes.
things change.
Right.
Rather than reacting upon them,
Right.
we just have to tolerate that situation.
Yes, tolerate the situation and try the best you can.
See, he has a question.
Come here and ask.
I'll give you an example that Prabhupada went through. Because in America, all the milk that you buy, by law, has to have fish oil in it to get vitamin A and D. Because this is the trick of the manufacturers, that unless there's vitamin A and D, you can't digest the calcium. So the devotees went and said, Prabhupada, the milk that we're offering has fish oil in it. And Prabhupada said, what can we do? Krishna likes milk. We have to offer milk to Krishna. So even he went beyond that he knew that there was fish oil in it, but we have to offer milk to Krishna. And then then he set up the farm project so that we have our own cows, we could have our own milk in the temples, things like that. So in the beginning it might be very difficult, but then you, with your intelligence, you find out ways that you can take prasadam and follow the principles without upsetting the family members. Okay? Yes,
My
Prabhu.
question is, how can we
Loud, little loud.
become favorite of Prabhupada? How can we
A
be
favorite of Prabhupada. Oh, he makes that very clear. Distribute my books, distribute my books, distribute my books. Yes. That all of the temples and the worship, this is all for supporting the preaching programs. Just like you'll see you have wrestling here, yeah? Wrestlers, right? So in order for a wrestler to come in the ring, he has his coach, he has his massager, he has his cook, he has so many people in the background to help him be strong, right? So the book distributors, they have the temples to go home to, they have the cooks, they have the deity worship. All of these different activities in the temple are simply so that the book distributors and the preachers can go out and preach Krishna consciousness. So if you can help others become Krishna conscious by giving them a book and helping them understand the philosophy, that's how you become dear to Srila Prabhupada. Okay?
I have a question. What is the quality of Srila Prabhupada you like the most, and which quality would you like the devotees should have first?
his compassion. Yes, Radharani is the personification of the compassionate nature of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada is the personification of that compassion. Because even the most fallen, the drunkards used to walk in stinking from their liquor and unclean, and he would welcome anybody. Everyone else would get upset. But Srila Prabhupada, he saw the service that they did, that they would come in, they would straighten up the shoes, sometimes they would bring a little offering. So Prabhupada was so compassionate. That's why we're all here, because of his compassion. Compassion means there's Jiva Daya, Vaishnav Seva and Jiva Daya. So Vaishnav Seva means that we serve those who are superior to us, and Jiva Daya means that we give mercy to those who are innocent, the jivas. And Prabhupada, although he was on the Paramahansa platform, where he saw everyone equally, he saw everyone engaged in Krishna's service, the preacher comes down to the Madhyam Adhikari level, where they see 4 different categories. They see the Supreme Lord, they see the devotees and make friends with the devotees, they see the innocent and they preach Krishna consciousness to the innocent, and they see the unfaithful or the demons, and they avoid the association of the demons. So in order to preach and become most dear to Krishna and to Prabhupada, we try to help others. That's the compassionate nature. Just like Srimati Radharani, she wasn't just trying to be with Krishna. She was pushing other people. That, oh, this devotee is so nice, and take them to Krishna. Even amongst the gopis, she would want her friends to be with Krishna. She would play different tricks so that they could be with Krishna instead. So that's what we try to do. We try to bring other people to Krishna. That pleases Krishna, and that helps the devotee come closer as well. So it's Prabhupada's compassion. And also his forgiveness. Even though devotees might have, we all have difficulties. That's why Mohini Murti, she tested Lord Shiva, he failed miserably. And Lord Brahma failed miserably. That everyone in this material world, we all have 4 imperfections. None of us is perfect. So none of us, because we're all going to commit mistakes, we all have imperfect senses, we all become illusion, we all have a tendency to cheat. But Prabhupada was so forgiving that even when the devotees, Krishna explains that they might perform some abominable activity, but still they're on the platform because by habit they might fall down. Still they're on the platform of trying to be devotees. So Prabhupada, he was very forgiving to the devotees, not that we take advantage of it. That, oh, it's all right if I go out and smoke a cigarette once in a while, it's just my habit. No, we have to try, and if by accident, one time a devotee was asking Prabhupada in Vrindavan, because most of our experiences was Prabhupada in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, how many of you have gone to Vrindavan? Oh, wonderful. Jai. So, you know, there are a lot of monkeys there, right? And they're very smart. And there are a lot of dogs there, and there are also pigs wandering around. So the dogs, the hogs, and the monkeys, the devotees from the West, we never see animals in the West. They're all either killed or locked up somewhere. So the devotees asked Prabhupada, why are all these animals here? So Prabhupada explained that it is the special mercy of Radha and Krishna that if one involuntarily, that means accidentally, commits an offense in Vrindavan, in their next birth, they take birth as these dogs, hogs, and monkeys, so that they can perform those sinful activities in the animal form and not get the sinful reaction. And then in their next lifetime, they get liberated from those sinful whatever sinful reactions were there, and they can continue on their path. So, forgiveness. We might see a devotee is struggling, and instead of finding fault with that devotee, we should be compassionate and try to help that devotee to come back to the path of Krishna consciousness. Okay.
And which qualities should we take first?
Which qualities should we take first? Well, these 26 qualities of a devotee, they're not artificially developed. They come automatically as we become Krishna conscious. We become poetic, we become silent. Silent means we just talk about Krishna. All of those 26 qualities, it's not that one is more important than the other. They will manifest naturally as we become purified and as we come closer to Krishna. Okay?
One last question.
Okay.
Most of them are ready for marriage.
Okay.
Some are even engaged.
Wonderful.
Very soon they will be getting married.
Great.
So what should be their approach to marriage and what should be their commitment in marriage relationship?
All right. When I was newly married, because Srila Prabhupada, he blessed our marriage, he told us, before we were married, that you should set the ideal example as grihastas. You will benefit, and whoever comes in contact with you will also benefit. So even in grihasta life, we are setting examples of devotees. The devotee who performed our marriage, that was the husband of Jamuna Devi Dasi. His name is Guru Das. Jamuna Devi Dasi, she's gone back to Godhead. Guru Das is still here. So when he was performing the marriage, he gave a little lecture after the marriage, because he was married to a very great devotee, Jamuna. And he said that in Krishna consciousness, there are no arguments, there's no reason to argue, but sometimes there might be an argument like, which color handkerchief should we offer to Krishna? I want to offer a pink one. No, I want to offer a blue one. So all of our disagreements even those are in relationship to our service. And then after the marriage, because there's always going to be problems after the marriage. It's never what we want it to be, because that's the nature of the material world. Prabhupada, he gave me second initiation, and I asked Prabhupada, is there anything I can do for you, Srila Prabhupada? And he said, you can chant Hare Krishna. Is there anything more I can do for you, Srila? Yes, you're married, you can serve your husband. And then I said to Srila Prabhupada, we don't get along. So Prabhupada didn't take it seriously at all. He said, because your husband is a Vaishnava, you are most fortunate. And then he said, there's so many things you can do. He said, you can be a pujari. So when Prabhupada told me, because for us, when we're newly married, we want to be the perfect wife, and I don't know if you want to be the perfect husband or not, I don't know, but the wife also always wants to be perfect, serve her husband nicely, and it just doesn't work out that way in the material world. So don't be disappointed. If the temple is arranging for your marriage, certainly you'll be married to a Vaishnava. And you're most fortunate if you can be married to a Vaishnava. And if for some reason it doesn't work out, you can be a pujari, or you can engage in so many different services for Krishna. So when Prabhupada told me that there's so many things you can do, you can be a pujari, I immediately began engaging in pujari service and so many different services, and the marriage just went on very peacefully like that. Okay?
Anybody have any other question? Okay, we'll have kirtan.
No, I have...
No, you can leave. You want to dance?
I'll dance, yes, I'll dance.
We'll have standing kirtan or sitting kirtan?
Anyone have dance?
Prabhuji, water.
Oh, thank you. You should know about that.
Sorry.
ଆମର କିଏ ଅଛନ୍ତି?
ଆସିନା
ଆଉ କ'ଣ କରୁଥିଲେ? ଆମଲା।
ନମ୍ଦ ଯିବ ତ
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna